When I first met you, you were a guitar. A six-string electric with blue and silver paint, the kind of guitar that a rock star might carry around with him or her. I didn't know your name then, but I could see you sitting in the corner of my mind in a dark little room. It was a lonely little room, and I felt sorry for you. I started visiting you every night, but it was hard to stay long. You were so full of pain. Every night you screamed for a little while, and then you went to sleep again. You never cried. You just lay there in the dark, a little voice lost and alone. One day I brought you a small black notebook and wrote on the cover, a record of the voices heard while sleeping. It was my way of trying to comfort you. You didn't seem to notice. You just sat there, as you had for days now, staring at the pages of my book with an empty look. I wanted to reach out and touch you, but I was afraid that I might wake you up, that you would feel my fingers in your mind and I would lose you. That night, I heard you crying again in your sleep. Your voice was high and frightened, a thin child's voice calling out for help that never came. And then I realized that I could hear other voices as well. They were much deeper, and they sounded like the voices of men or women talking in their sleep. And I realized that those voices were your dreams. So that night, I listened to you cry in your sleep, and I heard your dreams. They were about a man named John Brinkley who had just come back from Europe with a mysterious medicine that could cure all diseases. His patients were lined up in front of him in the streets of Wichita. It's a miracle, they said to each other. Brinkley has cured us. You are better, they said to me as I walked past. You look better than you did before. It's a miracle, I whispered. You were there too, in the crowd outside the building where Brinkley gave his speech. You stood on the sidewalk with all the others, looking up at Brinkley's window where he was waiting for his miracle. And then I heard Brinkley speak through your mouth. He promised the people of Wichita that his miracle would heal their sick children. I can cure your babies of the measles, of whooping cough, of cancer, of any disease he can name. He promised. And for just $100, I'll make it so they don't need to suffer anymore. $100 and a visit to my clinic, and they won't have to be afraid anymore. Brinkley promised that he would cure you too. You would be better, stronger, healthier than you'd ever been before. Then you woke up crying again in your sleep. I went to you and tried to comfort you. I know how bad it hurts, I told you, but it's all right now. I wanted to go away, you said, your voice so full of sorrow that it seemed as if your throat might close up and stop you from breathing. I can make it go away, I told you, putting my arms around you. Just come with me to my house, and we'll get some sleep, and then we'll talk about it in the morning. So I took you to my house, and I put you on the couch and covered you with a blanket, but I couldn't sleep at all. I kept thinking about what you'd said to me. I wanted to go away. You'd never said anything like that to me before. I was surprised to hear those words coming out of your mouth. But I knew that they meant something important to you, and I had to find out what that something was. So the next day I took you out to the mountains and I led you to a very special place. We went down into a deep, dark cave that had been hidden away from the rest of the world for centuries. There I taught you to use your special gift, and there you learned how to control your dreams. You learned to be very quiet inside your head so that the voices of the other sleeping people wouldn't bother you. Then you learned how to look inside them and see their dreams for yourself. And so you began to see what they saw in their sleep, to see what they dreamed of every night. That was when you discovered the true nature of your gift. The people who came to see you at night were not suffering from disease. They were not victims of accidents, or violence, or tragedy. They were only dreaming about what they wanted to dream about, the things that they secretly wished would happen to them, but didn't think that they deserved to have. They were living their fantasies and pretending that they were real. And they came to you because they hoped that by sleeping with you they might become what they wanted to be, rather than what they actually were. You learned all this in one single night, and when you left the cave, you understood why it was called the Blue Guitar.